Rise from your grave. Welcome to Retrotopia episode 72, Altered Beast for the Sega Genesis and Mega Drive. This is Sam, the Storm Beagle, coming to you with the introduction. And first, we'll get the plugs out of the way. If you'd like to join us over on linktree/Retrotopia, that's linktr.ee/Retrotopia, you'll find links to our social medias, Discord, and our Patreon, which is free to join. Although we do have a paid tier, and we appreciate all of our patrons. If you're new, welcome to the show. If you're just here for Altered Beast, skip about 15 or 20 minutes. But I suggest you stick around, because we have listener comments and updates and everything. Comments about the game from our listeners. It's a fun time, so stick around. And speaking of which, we're going to start with our listener comments, and this is the 9-bit banter box, the culturally elegant. And our first comment comes from Blobby Rogers, who says, Senior Storm Beagle, if you were an altered beast, what kind of altered beast would you be? Well, Blobby, I would be an absolutely jacked anthropomorphic beagle that howls super loud and slaps baddies with his ears. I think that works really well. And really nice work on the tilde on Senior. I appreciate that. That is very accurate. Mr. Hooley says, Sam, when the hell are you going to start GTA 5? Guess what? I've never played a GTA game aside from maybe like 3 or probably 3 at the time. And it was just like messing around with someone else's game on the PS2. So they already had like everything unlocked and it was just like kind of running around. I never played the story or anything. So I tell you what, I'm going to put GTA 5 on the list because I want to know what this hype is all about. And maybe we'll get GTA 6 sometime soon. And actually, maybe we could cover GTA 5 on the show. It's freaking almost 10 years old, isn't it? Next is The Big Deal, who says, what would an actual Storm Beagle look like? In my head, I'm just picturing Snoopy as the Red Baron. You know, that's good, but the actual Storm Beagle is my icon. If you're not in our Discord, you should join us, and then you can see or follow me on Instagram. You can see my Storm Beagle icon, which is Storm Eagle from Mega Man X with one of my dog's heads put out on it, and it's adorable. So Brian made that for me in the days before the show, and I really appreciated that. But you know what? I'm going to be thinking about this Snoopy as the Red Baron and do something with that maybe. That is a good idea. Next, we have Blaine the Hoagie Man, who says, out of all the mythical creatures there are, which one do you think you could defeat in a fight if they were real? I tell you what, Blaine, we just watched The Leprechaun, and I think I could punt a leprechaun. You know what? If I was messing with a leprechaun's gold and they tried to hassle me about it, I think I would just pick it up and punt it across the yard. So that's my answer. But yeah, also Leprechaun, fun movie, and all of the leprechauns are on Peacock if you have Peacock, so watch those, because there's one about leprechauns in space that I'm real excited to get into. All right, Wildcard says the year is 2032. We've been in the zombie apocalypse for the past 4 years. Your survivalist journey takes you to a zoo, and miraculously all the animals are still alive and in captivity. My question for you, Sam, is which one of them some bitches are you eating first? Gosh, I have to imagine most zoo animals would taste terrible, but I think maybe the warthog, because it's most like pork. Otherwise, I would try to like catch one of the birds and see if their eggs are delicious. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with that. But my real answer is I'm not making it 4 years in the zombie apocalypse. I don't know what you're on, but I'm not going to last a week. So there'll still be food after a week, but then I'll be dead. All right. Next comes from, this is the last one. This is from Sir Bustalot. Hello, Mr. Beagle. Have you started High on Life yet? And if so, any early thoughts? Well, I hate to disappoint you if you really like this game, but I didn't really enjoy it too much. I really liked the humor and the voices and all that stuff because it's Rick and Morty co-creator Justin Roiland, who he's gotten in some trouble lately, but whatever. He's still funny, but yeah, I don't know. The gameplay didn't really grab me. I got a good amount in. I think I played to the second boss because you are an intergalactic or interdimensional bounty hunter of some sort, and so I think I did the first one, and then I took the second bounty. But by the time I got to the second boss, I was getting a little tired of the kind of rinse and repeat gameplay. And the weapons really weren't. I mean, you have the weapons are funny because they talk to you. Like the knife is hilarious, but I don't know. It wasn't really grabbing me. So maybe I'll try it again at some point. But for now, I called it quits for now. But yeah, we'll see. I was disappointed though because I was really looking forward to trying it out. Glad I didn't pay extra money for it though because it's on PS Plus. Well, thanks everyone. Thanks for the comments. I really do appreciate those. Those are fun to read and answer. So what have I been playing? Just recently I finished Link Between Worlds on the 3DS, and that was a lot of fun. That's for an upcoming episode. I don't know. This is going to be a hot take maybe, but I wouldn't put it in my top 5 Zelda games, but I really, really enjoyed it. So, I mean, a game cannot be in my top 5 Zeldas and still be a fantastic game. I did like it. I'm also still chugging away at Advance Wars Dual Strike. I think I'm within the last couple of missions, but man, those get really even in the first Advance Wars, I played that on Reboot Camp, and in typical Advance Wars or Fire Emblem fashion, the last couple of maps are just absolutely crazy, full of enemies, crazy shit happening. I just played one last night where a rainstorm brings in a fog of war, and just there's dual strike powers. I think eventually we'll do some sort of episode on it. I'm going to be chatting at some point with Danny from Retro Wars on this one. I love it. It's just man, those last few missions are such a slog. So hopefully I can be done with that by the time I do my next intro. Then I'm also just kind of a game on the side that I've got going is Pokemon Ultra Moon. I've been enjoying the 3DS so much, and I missed out on it originally. So I've been kind of going back and collecting what I can for it, and just grabbing a game and playing here and there. And so far it's a little slow, but we'll see. It's definitely got that kind of Sword and Shield look to it. It's not top down, I basically have played through Gen 3 Pokemon and then the Pokemons that are on the Switch. So I missed out on all of the DS ones. So I've been having a good time with that. And hopefully, maybe I can share my thoughts on some DS Pokemon at some point. And then I need to get back to Kingdom Hearts. I think I'm about halfway through, or maybe a little bit more than halfway through, and put it down for a bit. Yeah, we'll see. You'll hear my thoughts on that one. But yeah, that's it. That's all I've been playing. I've been real busy with work and life and stuff. So hopefully I'll get some more time to game pretty soon, and I can add some more to the done pile and get some more episodes cranked out. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about Altered Beast, and to do that, first we need to hear from Alan and the Gentleman's Interlude.
Rise from your grave. I am Zeus, the mighty king of the gods, and I have summoned you, a mere mortal warrior, to rescue my daughter, Athena, who has been captured by the nefarious Neph, a dark sorcerer. I have imbued you with the power to transform into powerful beasts, a gift that will allow you to face Neph's dark forces and save my daughter from his clutches. The story begins with Neff's treachery, as he kidnaps Athena and takes her to his lair. In a desperate attempt to save her, I send you, a fallen warrior, to battle through waves of his monstrous minions. Along your perilous journey, you will face treacherous creatures, from undead warriors to massive beasts, all under the control of Neff's dark magic. To aid you in your quest, I grant you the power to transform into powerful animals after you defeat certain enemies. This is the core of your strength, allowing you to take on the forms of a mighty werewolf, a fierce dragon, a powerful tiger, and other awe-inspiring beasts. Each transformation grants you unique abilities and heightened strength, making you capable of overcoming the grotesque horrors that Neff has conjured to stand in your way. However, as you advance, the enemies become increasingly formidable, and Neff's influence seems to grow stronger with each passing moment. Only through perseverance and my divine guidance will you have the chance to defeat Neff, rescue Athena, and restore peace to the world. Altered Beast was developed by Sega and first released in 1988 as an arcade game. Its striking graphics and innovative gameplay quickly made it a fan favorite, showcasing the power of Sega's arcade technology. The game was later ported to the Sega Genesis in 1989 as one of its flagship titles, serving as an early example of the console's potential. Its unique blend of side-scrolling action, character transformations, and mythological themes set it apart from other games of its time, though it also sparked mixed reactions due to its difficulty and relatively simplistic design. As Zeus, I watch over you in this quest, knowing that only your courage and my divine gifts will see Athena freed and the evil Neff defeated. Rise, warrior, and face your destiny.
All right, thanks, Alan. Now we have some comments from our listeners about the game, Altered Beast. And first, we'll start with Chris Copleen, who says, and he's from the Retro Hangover podcast. You should listen to that show. I quite enjoy it. I listen every week. Chris says, is this game a masterpiece? No, God, no. But it's not a bad game either. It's simple, provides a decent challenge, and those graphics and sounds are iconic for the Genesis. While it's more of a meme today, and for elite snob gamers to turn their nose up on it, it's perfectly fine if you have nothing better to do for 30 minutes. Well put. Mr. Hooley says, I have little experience on Genesis since I grew up a Nintendo kid, but this is absolutely one of my favorites that I've played. It's definitely not a walk in the park, though. Maybe someday I'll put in the time and get good. Yeah, I've always wanted to, I haven't finished this game, but, eventually I think if I have a little bit more time on my hands, I want to sit down and really get into a game and finish it without, just straight through without save states. Something I would target would be this, or maybe Castlevania 1 or Contra or something like that. But those tough NES games, I guess as far as a millennial, a bit maybe on the younger side, and didn't really, I don't know. I never really finished stuff when I was playing it. I would just kind of play it and enjoy it and get as far as I could. But yeah, it'd be fun to sit down and actually finish a difficult game like this one of these days. But that last level is fucking ridiculous. Yeah. Wildcard has the next comment, and he said, I grew up with this one, and after many years playing and attempting to master this, I have seen the beginning of level 3, and that's it. Hope you guys made it farther. I'd love to know what comes next. Yeah, we do talk about what comes next, and it is something else. Like I said, that last level is pretty tough, and there is, I think it's in stage 3 or 4, whichever one had the ants in it, I think. There's like a gap that you have to jump, and it's just like ridiculous because you're just this slow piece of shit, and he doesn't jump very high or far, so you really have to be like either moving while you jump or get right to the last pixel that you can possibly be standing on to clear the jump, and then there's someone waiting on the other side to punch you. So it's tough, and I think last time I played this, it's been a while, but last time I played this, I definitely died a bunch on that stupid hole in level 3. And then our last comment comes from Big Kid 782, who says, I never played this till it came to the Switch Online service, and I highly enjoy it. It's a fun time killer when I want to clear the system between games. I don't play it long or get far, but I enjoy the game nonetheless. Well put. And also, thanks for clearing up. I couldn't remember if it was on Switch Online or not, but you've confirmed it. So yeah, it's very accessible to play. And yeah, it is. You're right. Like games like this, or I mentioned Contra before, but like Contra is another fun one where it's like, you can just jump in and play it for a while. You don't necessarily have to beat it, but if you've just finished a long game and you're like, I want to play, but I don't want to play something really involved, this type of game is absolutely perfect for it. So thanks for your comments, everyone. Thanks for the questions earlier, and thanks for listening. Now let's get to Altered Beast, which was released in 1988 for the arcade, and Sega Genesis, Mega Drive, Master System, Famicom, ZX, Spectrum, bunch of shit. And it was developed and published by Sega. So let's get to the chat. We are here to talk Altered Beast on the Sega Genesis, or as my lovely co-host here will call it, the Sega Mega Drive. Alan, how are you doing, buddy?
I will call it the Mega Drive, but Genesis is good too. I'm great, dude. I am really happy to be talking about Altered Beast, or as I used to call it when I was younger, Altered Beast, because I didn't know that word. Wow. Yeah, I didn't know what that word was or what it meant, and that's how I pronounced it for the longest time. Great little game.
That sounds poetic, actually. That sounds like when you need an extra syllable in a line of verse, and it's like, the beast so altered.
Altered Beast. Just give it a band. We're back to the Matt Berry, aren't we?
That's canon now. That's what we're calling it. Altered Beast.
Altered Beast.
This is an old-ass game.
It really is. Like, this is one of the oldest-ass games in the history of Alan here.
Yeah, me too, actually. This is probably within the first 5 or 10 video games I ever played in my life, I think.
100%. Like, I can only think of maybe 3 games I played before this one, and that is Alex Kidd, of course. Dick Tracy. Sorry. Yeah, I know, right? I know. Dick Tracy for the Master System. Sonic the Hedgehog 1.
Okay.
And this is probably the 4th game I ever played.
Yeah.
I've nothing to back that up, but I'm pretty sure. So this is early gaming history, for sure.
I think for me, some of my first games were, and this like goes with like before I got my own Sega. So real early, briefly, we had an NES when I was a little kid, and so like Mario, Duck Hunt, and 1942, I think, were some of the first games I played.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was Empire Strikes Back on the Atari, and at some point, someone had a Sega somewhere, and I played Altered Beast, and that was that was in there. And then the last one that I can think of, I think was this is shout out to Nomad from Retro Wildlands, because he unlocked this memory for me, because I actually played Russian Attack on the NES as a kid and could not for the longest time figure out what the fuck that game was, and just remembered gameplay but not the name of the game. So there we go. Check out the Russian Attack episode on Retro Wildlands, because it's excellent.
Awesome. I think I've heard of that. I think that was on the was that on the Master System as well? I think it was.
I don't know. I just know that it was on the NES.
Yeah, I'm sure I remember that. I don't know if I've ever played it, but I remember it. And do you know what? Even looking it up, I know it's not spelt Russian Attack.
No, it's like Rush. It's like Rush and Attack, but then of course it's got that like Cold War Russian thing going.
Yeah,
but it's just like a guy. It's just a guy that just takes on like an entire compound with a knife.
Wow, that sounds. I'm gonna have to.
You get a
track that
bazooka,
down.
but
it's
old
cool
games.
Old games were just fucking brilliant. Just
yeah,
in their beautiful simplicity. They were just designed to be all out fun. There was just nothing overly complicated about them. It was just pick up a controller and play, which
nothing really took itself too seriously, right?
Exactly, which I think is a perfect description of Altered Beast.
I was gonna say, like speaking of which, rise from your grave.
Rise from your grave. Yeah, just some dude is plucked out of the ground and said, "Hey, my daughter's been kidnapped. Go fuck this dude up and have at it." And I just love that lack of like context. I love the lack of, because this is the end of the day when everything was like written in the instruction manuals and things like that. And you press start and out you come out of the ground. Ease your enemy, off you go. And I love that.
Yeah, it's one of those games that while I fully acknowledge that it's not perfect, I have a soft spot for it because I had it in my collection at some point. It's one of those games, unlike Russian Attack, that I remembered playing at a very early age, and then once I kind of came of age and had a system of my own, I remembered it and saw it at the game store and was like, hey, this was a cool game. And actually I could get fairly far into it, I think, as a kid, and then also like now, but I can't finish. I don't know. Have you finished this game all the way through?
Yes. Only for the very first time last year.
Okay.
So it took
good on you, because that
30 odd years to do it. It's brutal. Yeah, it really is. And this, I mean, full disclosure, I played it obviously last year. I beat it. I wasn't going to play this again so soon for this episode. So I just thought, you know what? I remember it well enough. I've been playing it more or less all my life. I'll just watch a quick video and just refresh myself on some of the more salient points. And I was trawling through YouTube and I was just like gameplay videos, and it's just like, okay, 13 minutes, 14 minutes, 12 minutes. I'm just like, where's a full gameplay of this? Where's a full video of this game? And I was just like, oh, and it's
shit. Like, oh no, that's it.
That's literally this is, if you know what you're doing, this is a 15-minute long game.
Yeah, it's, if you don't die and you're skilled enough to play it all the way through, it is, it's 15 minutes. It's 5 very short levels, because the levels will extend themselves if you don't get those power-ups.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But, if you know where they are and you can get them all, then you're through each level in like a matter of minutes.
Oh yeah, you basically cut each level down by a third.
Power up.
And I tell you what, we should talk a little bit about what this game is all about from it, just to set the scene, because this is a childhood game for us, but we might have listeners that have absolutely no fucking idea what this game is.
We're talking about it like, didn't everyone have this game? It's like, no, I don't think a lot of people did. Maybe they did, but
I think a lot of people around our age will at least have dabbled with Altered Beast.
Right.
It's just one of those games. Again, it was a pack-in for the Mega Drive / Genesis there, and it was.
Right.
I think everyone at least had a crack at it. But the basic premise is, of course, that was it Zeus's daughter Athena has been kidnapped by the evil wizard Neph, and
Yep.
instead of Zeus going and actually getting off his ass and fucking doing something about it, he grabs some random dead soldier from in the ground and just says, "Go and rescue my daughter, beat up Neph. Here's a bunch of transformations you can use to do so." And it's
Right.
go on.
Where it's like, can't you shoot fucking lightning? Like, why do I have to do it?
Yeah, exactly. Well, he's Zeus, isn't he? He's probably gonna, I don't know, go turn
He's
into
busy.
he's gonna go turn into a goose and fuck another goose and get
Oh yeah,
into trouble.
like that is like the things Zeus did in Greek mythology are just absolutely bananas.
Dude was a barbarian, mate. Like he was
Just
absolutely savage.
pretty gross too.
Yeah.
Just really, really kind of questionable. He would be canceled today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. In a heartbeat. That
Yeah.
being said, though, I mean, I don't know a fuck of a lot about Greek mythology, but it's interesting. It's never boring. It's like I always find those, the Greek mythologies, the Norse mythologies. It's just a bunch of like fuck up gods just stumbling through their existence to the inevitable, like Ragnarok or whatever, and it's just the stories are a lot of fun. Yeah, definitely very messy.
Yeah, very weird. But this is like very, very loosely based on Greek mythology.
Oh yeah.
Like actually, it's funny to me because like Zeus commands you to rise from your grave, right? As is pretty well known. And it's funny to me because this is clearly taking place kind of in that Greek or like mythological time period, but everything still looks kind of ruined. Like, why is it ruins then too? Like, wouldn't everything be really new? Like, there's like an Acropolis in the background and it's like crumbling. Like, aren't those brand new?
That's fucking ridiculous because, again, 30 odd years I've been playing this game and I never thought you were asking the real questions now. You may have just ruined this game for me.
Like, why is it also old then?
I'm just going to be walking around. It's just like, well, this is just not chronologically accurate, is it? Fuck this game.
No,
you know what? 2 out of 10. We're done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so you are dragged out of the ground, and it's basically a left to right. I mean, is it a beat 'em up? I suppose it's a beat 'em up, really.
Yeah, I guess kind of. It's I guess like an action game. It doesn't really do a lot of platforming, and when it does, the platforming really sucks.
Yeah,
but
fair.
The game has like basically one jump, and you're basically guaranteed to miss it. The first few times.
I mean, it is rather stiff. I mean, we're not talking about a Streets of Rage here by any stretch.
No.
But you're basically just walking across. Go on.
Yeah, no, it's just left to right. There's none of the like depth that like a like when you think of a beat 'em up, even on the NES. Like,
no, right.
Like Turtles we were talking about before. Like you can kind of go foreground, background a little bit. There's a little bit of depth, which actually kind of fucks me up when we're talking about beat 'em ups. So I'm actually kind of glad that this is just a left to right, kind of straight on type of game.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I can appreciate that. I mean, a lot of the times it can be, especially be like jumping attacks and things like that on those. I mean, what do you call it? Like a 2.5D.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, beat 'em up. It can be very difficult to line up your attacks, and you always seem to like miss an attack only for your enemy to just capitalize on that, which kind of fucked. But
yeah, get in under your guard and just wail on you, which can happen here too, depending on like, yeah, if you punch high and you're supposed to go low or miss something completely, it'll punish you for that for sure.
Yeah, so you make your way through waves.
Yeah,
I was just saying, you make way through waves of these enemies until you invariably get to, well, it's Neph, really. Is it Neph? I'm sure that's his name.
Basically, I think you're right.
Some Uncle
evil
Fester
bald
looking
dude with, Yeah.
And
He's got like a purple robe and a ball. He's like typical 80s bad guy looking kind of dude.
yeah, and I have to
Um,
wonder is like, why is this not Hades?
they couldn't get the rights to Hades. They got Zeus signed on, but Hades said, "I'm good."
Do you think he
He didn't
asked?
need any more negative publicity.
Do you think maybe they just
Yeah.
couldn't afford Hades? I hear
Yeah,
it.
or it was just like he's like a sorcerer or whatever,
Yeah,
kind of dude. But yeah, when you get to Neff, but by the time you don't get to Neff or like whatever he transforms into, at the end of each level, unless you've collected these 3 blue power up orbs that you get for killing these like blue. They're like dogs, but they're like these little Cerberus looking dogs.
you know
And so
what?
there's plenty of
I'm
there's
glad
plenty of
you've
brown
said that
ones.
because for
Yeah.
years I've just called them Cerberus dogs, and I'm so glad that you've said that. Yeah, I feel vindicated. Uh,
Oh, that they're Cerberus dogs? Yeah, they
they're
definitely
definitely
kind of have more than one head.
yeah.
Yeah.
And there can be brown ones, and there's like usually a herd of them that sort of runs across the screen, and you really want to sort of pick out the blue one because if you hoof
Yeah.
that thing, it will spit up a lovely little, basically Sega Saturn logo that floats around the screen.
It kind of looks like that, doesn't it?
It does, it does. And collect 3 of those, and you transform. And I've got to say, I mean, I was building to this, but this is the meat. This is the unique selling point of this entire game. This is what makes it for me. And that's the abilities to transform into all of these different beasts, basically, the altered beasts.
Yeah.
And I mean, as a kid, Sam, as a kid playing this game, the first time you transformed into, well, it would have been the wolf. Level 1, you turn into
Yeah.
a wolf. Like, how fucking cool was that moment for a young Sam?
Oh yeah. I mean, and then the animation too, when it like it cuts away and it does like a transformation between like your face and then like the beast that you're turning into. Yeah, it was badass.
Yeah, that's a nice touch as well. Again, because they didn't need to do that, but that little almost American Werewolf in London transformation is
Yeah, it looks
just,
like that, doesn't it?
it does, and it's just so fucking cool. And there you go. You spend the rest of the level as one of these creatures, and with access to all of their powers and abilities, and it's the coolest thing ever. It really is. I love it so much.
Right. Yeah, and it's like, well, and you've got these stages. I guess we should mention like another part of the mechanic is that like you're collecting these little orbs and you're getting like more and more buff, and you're like parts of your clothes, you're like hulking out of your clothes.
Yeah.
So by the time you're like the stage right before you turn into a beast, you're like this big buff dude whose like shirt has ripped off. So he's basically just like buff dude in loincloth.
I love it.
And
Yeah.
then you transform.
Basically, the first transformation, the front of his shirt just rips away. The second transformation is hilarious because he is jacked as fuck. And what makes me laugh about this so much is that his head is exactly the same fucking size. So you just got this,
Yeah, I know.
this monstrous like Mr. Universe looking motherfucker, and it's just like this tiny pea-sized head on his
Tiny little
shoulders,
head, yeah.
and it's. And another thing I love about these transformations is why the fuck does he always look at me like it's my fault when he transforms?
Yeah, he like it is funny. The sprite kind of like pauses and looks at the screen when it transforms.
Yeah, it's like I gave him the steroids or something. It's just like, what the fuck?
Like, my shirt ripped now.
This is somehow your fault. Like,
Yeah,
all right,
it's definitely like a fat guy in a little coat.
Oh shit, is that a Tommy Boy pull? Nice.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, so you get jacked as fuck, and then next power up you transform, and then you're allowed to fight Neff, because he will
Yes.
he basically turns up a few times in every level, and very obliging of him, I think, because he, like, say the first time you come across him in a level, you can't hit him, you can't attack him. He's got basically a force field that will keep you away. And it's
Right.
if you've not yet transformed into the beast, he'll be like, nah, I don't feel like it, and he'll fuck off, and you can carry on playing the level to try and collect more of these power-ups. which I think is very kind of nice of the guy. Let's be honest, because it's just like,
Generous, yeah. Like,
yeah, right.
I wonder if there was a version of the game that like you got to Neff, and if you weren't transformed, you'd just be like, "Nah, you're dead."
Well, I mean, I think by the second or third time, if you still haven't got the power ups, like you have to fight him just as is. I might have that wrong.
Really?
I
I've either died before I got to that point, or yeah, like I've never, because you'd have to play through the level quite a long time in order to get to that point where he's finally just like, fuck it, I'll
Yeah.
fight you as is.
Now,
Yeah,
I'm
it's a marathon.
sure I remember this being a thing. But I'm sure that you get sort of 3 strikes, and if you haven't transformed by then, you just as is. And some of these bosses, you can agree that you need. I can't think of any way to beat these bosses without the transformation. I mean, and none of them are particularly
No,
difficult, but that's because you
no,
have
because
these
you would need
powers.
you need the ranged attacks
Sure.
to kind of avoid, like, kind of just avoid what it's throwing at you and use the ranged attacks or whatever attack is unique to that transformation. Like the wolf, basically, like when you punch, it throws a fist,
Yep.
and then it has another like rush attack or whatever. But if you use that rush attack, then it like puts you right next to the enemy, and you'll end up getting hurt by it. So I don't
Yeah.
usually use that one.
I mean, the rush
But
attack
yeah, it's
is good if you go through the enemy with the animation. But yeah, if they're in
and
the
kill
corner,
it.
yeah, and if they're in the corner of the
Yeah.
screen, that's as far as you can go, you will just go back to idle and take damage. But if you can go straight through the enemy and come out on the other side, generally you're all right. But these bosses are kind of static, so it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
really work all that well. But again,
Yeah, that first boss to me looks so goofy. Like it's like a weird goat looking kind of like slug, I guess, because it's kind of just like a pile of. I mean, it looks cool as hell, but it's kind of like a big,
it's like a weird
like
kind of pillar of
I'm trying to.
it's a pillar of gross.
Yeah, it's like kind of. It almost looks like a bunch of like what would rise out of a graveyard. I guess it's like a pile of like just human remains, almost looking.
Mm.
It's just like a really gross, like graveyard creature. It's actually really cool.
They are, and the designs of the bosses in this game are really cool. Like they definitely,
Yeah, I'd say.
they definitely did the best they could. But yeah, this fucking guy, literally just throws 4 of his own head across the screen
Yeah.
to fall at random places, and of course the trick there is to dodge the heads as they're falling and just continue spamming that ranged attack until
Yep.
he dies. And one of the things that this game does that I fucking love is as you're damaging the boss, it's doing that thing where the boss is starting to like vibrate faster and start to flash red. And
Yes.
I love that in old video games because it gets you pumped. You know you're nearly there. It's just like the quicker that's moving, the quicker it's flashing. You're just like, oh, buddy, like it can only be a couple more hits and I've got this. And that is a feature that I sorely miss in video
Yeah, I
games.
think it's funny, we just played Link Between Worlds, and the bosses in that game kind of do that too.
I was literally just thinking that. You're
I
absolutely
loved
right.
that. That was awesome, cuz otherwise, like in a Zelda game, for example, like you don't know how far you are unless like the boss has changed attack patterns or something. It's like, okay, something changed, so I know I must be making some progress. Otherwise, like, you don't necessarily know.
No, and it's usually with that sort of thing, it's the rule of 3, isn't it? It's just like 3 changes and I've probably beaten this. But
Right.
a health
Or
bar is cool, but give me that sort of I don't know, rising, flashing, like everything's getting a bit faster. It's just like I know I'm nearly there. I know I'm nearly there. It's gonna
it's
be
kind of an
soon.
arcade. It's kind of an arcade trope, isn't it?
Well,
You know,
yeah.
like that was kind of how they indicated that to you in an arcade game that
Well,
you were getting close. That's what got your quarter. It was like you die, but you know that fucker was flickering. It's like,
yeah.
I'm gonna throw another quarter in there and finish it off.
Well, maybe because this was an arcade game originally, so maybe it is just a
Mm-hmm.
holdover from that. So that's an excellent point.
Yeah.
Maybe. But yeah,
Yeah, what
so
did you, so
go
so
on.
the wolf is the first transformation. Did you have a I mean there's basically four cuz I mean kind of don't like this, but the last transformation is also a wolf.
Yeah, see, I was going to say the same thing. It's just like, I mean, there are some
They
cool
were like,
yeah,
gold wolf. No one's
go-
going to get this far, so
that's
gold
it.
wolf.
That's exactly
Yeah.
what I was going to say. It's just like, well,
Yeah.
nobody's going to see this final level. What other animal can we use? It's like, fuck, I can't think of anything else. Well, we'll just palette swap the wolf,
Right.
and that will do. We'll call it a day. And it's just like, come on, guys. It's only like what, 5 levels? You couldn't have come
Yeah.
up with a. You couldn't have come up with another animal. You couldn't have had, I don't know, fucking. Oh, I've forgotten every animal that I've ever encountered. What's the
Yeah, something like what about like a lion or something, like
Yeah,
you got
lion.
all
Lion would
kinds
be
of like
cool.
ferocious animals. Yeah.
Or like I don't know, some sort of fucking elephant-headed like beast,
Oh,
or
that would have been cool.
you can
Yeah.
just charge
Like a
or
minotaur or something.
I was going to say a rhino, but then that's kind of in the
That's the
game
final
already.
boss.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But there, basically, the fact that I cannot think of another cool animal to put into this fucking level. I'm not a game designer, guys. Come on, you need to do the
Well,
work.
you know what? That's probably exactly why, because they couldn't think of another animal either. They're just like, fuck it.
Yeah, but I'm assuming they're a lot cleverer than I am.
They got dragon. The dragon's cool
The dragon is cool.
because that's the one where you just basically like you're already kind of flying, so you just kind of can direct yourself anywhere on the screen.
Yeah, and second
yeah.
out of the gate, having like that is so different from the wolf in the way that you play. Like, I think that's kind of a
Oh yeah.
genius one to put in there because you can literally go anywhere on the screen. You're flying, you can shoot bolts out of the dragon, and it has this wonderful sort of electric force field that you can spam. And
Yes, and that's actually how you beat the second boss because
oh yes,
that gave me problems for so long as a kid, and then even like it had been a while since I had played it, and the most recent time I played, I think probably like last year or the year before, I got stuck again. I'm like, how the fuck did I do this? And you have to actually like the second boss is like this weird like watermelon looking thing that opens up and a bunch of eyes float towards you. And you can destroy the eyes, but that doesn't harm the actual like boss itself, which it kind of looks like it does because everything kind of flashes when it gets hurt, or like when you hit one of the eyes, like everything kind of flashes, so it kind of looks like you're doing something, but you're not. You have to actually like rush up to the boss itself and hit it there, I think, right? Like you have to.
I don't know whether or
As
not
it's-
the hitting the eyes hurts it or not. I always just assumed it did, but
Yeah.
it's. I mean, again, this is another boss design that I love. It's so gross. It's
Yeah.
like this great.
Octeyes, it's called.
Is it? It's like basically this giant plant that opens up, and it's just like because
Yeah.
again, I mean, and you've played through. Basically, you're in like an underground, gross-looking swamp, and everything in there is just kind of squishy and disgusting, and a really nice contrast from the first level. But I've always just found that this second boss, Octeyes, I would always literally just fly right down his gullet and then just spam the.
That's what you. Yeah.
That's
That's
what
pretty much what you got to do.
just hammer as fast as it can because he can't really hit you because you stagger the eyes when you do that. So if you just
Right.
literally as fast as you can just spam that electric shield, you'll take him out
Yeah.
in no time.
Actually, I found on the Altered Beast wiki, there's a apparently they claim that you can beat the Octeyes without transforming. And so I pulled up a YouTube video of it. It looks fucking ridiculous. Like
Oh.
this guy's getting his ass kicked. But you basically like he's just trying to jump kick the eyes.
Oh Jesus! Well, I mean, if nothing else, that lends credence to the fact that you can actually get to these bosses without transforming.
Yeah, I don't
But
know why you'd ever want to.
I'm
But
not fucking doing that. Thank you very much.
right. Yeah, this looks miserable.
That's
But like
that's gross.
basically, yeah, I think it's weird. Like they do flash red when you're hurting the actual boss, but you're only hurting them when they're kind of close. It seems like once the eyes have kind of floated out past the boss with its kind of like pod open, then it's not really hurting it anymore. And so like you have to kind of let the ones that have kind of floated past go. Don't go back for them. Just kind of stick in close and hit it.
Yeah. And again, because this thing's not really moving, so you can't just camp in one place and just fucking let it rip. And not the hard.
Oh, they're
not
also
the
playing it on a
boss.
phone touchscreen. That's miserable.
Ugh.
Ugh. All right, sorry, I got distracted. Yeah, I saw like in the corner the A, B, and C and the D-pad, like they're playing it on a phone. What a horrible way to play
Just
a
like,
platformer or like a retro game.
do you know what? Just I don't know. Poke out both your eyes and play it on the Mega Drive. You know, fuck it.
Yeah,
You're still gonna have a better time.
yeah.
But yeah, so that's the second level and second boss. You were gonna ask about which of these transformations is the best. I think. Like
Yeah,
which,
what did you have? Did you have a favorite?
I mean, I think they're all really fucking good. Like they all have their charms and they all look so great. I mean, when I was a kid, I could probably only make it to, I guess, like the third level. Maybe that's as far as I would go. So
Mm-hmm.
my experience with it was the wolf, the dragon, and I think it's the bear after that.
The bear is third, yeah.
I
And actually, in that third level is where there is a jump. You have to jump across kind of a pit, and if you're not like on the very last fucking pixel that you can be standing on in order to jump across, you're gonna fall in. And then the other thing is like if you do make the jump, there's someone there to just like punch you right as soon as you get to the other side.
Of course there is, because fuck you, why
Such
not?
a nut, such a sack tap. Just like, oh, you made the jump, I'm gonna punch you right off this
There you go.
fucking thing.
Give us another quarter. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
well, yeah, and then it's really frustrating because you're playing at home, and it's like this isn't an arcade game. I'd like to just be able to beat this, please.
I mean, it does very much play like an arcade game, doesn't it?
Oh, for sure.
It definitely has that feel to it, and I have never played the arcade game. I probably will never play the arcade game. I would love to have the arcade version of this for the games room. I think.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen one in the wild.
No, but I can't imagine it. I suppose it would be better than this, but I think they did a really good job of keeping that feel to it. But yeah,
Yeah, I think so.
I think as a kid, the dragon was probably my favorite, simply because you do feel like a fucking boss when you're playing as the dragon.
Yeah, and you can fly around. It's pretty cool.
I mean, the bear I love just because of how kind of dumb he looks. I mean, you're underground, you're fighting ants and turtles and all of this weird shit, and you turn into this bear, and he's just like literally a bear just standing up on his hind legs, and he's got his arms out in like the like the guard, and it's just a fucking bear like ready to box people, and it just looks so funny. I love it.
Yeah, like a bear just walking around its hind legs.
Yeah, fists out and ready for action.
Right. The tiger does like a cool like I don't know if it's like a fireball, like turns into a fireball or something, but like yeah, this bouncing, they call it bouncing flame, and it does pillar of fire. I think the tiger might be actually my favorite one.
I would say probably these days, and maybe it's a novelty because it's probably one that is, I guess, the newest transformation that I've experienced.
Yeah, it's the one I saw the least.
Exactly.
Or like not at all.
Exactly.
You know, you only saw it because like you opened the manual and like looked through it and like, oh, there's a cool tiger, but I'll never see that.
I mean, the tiger looks cool. You know, I like because he shoots up, and much like the wolf can blast sort of horizontally across the screen, the tiger can blast vertically.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. And he fires off he fires that ball that every time I shoot that thing off, I just get shades of Medusa heads from Castlevania, except I'm the one doing the fucking Medusa heading now, bitch. So,
Right.
um, I appreciate that.
Oh wait, I might have to correct myself. I think the bear actually does that, like jumping. Let me just double check
So
here.
the bear basically Sonic the Hedgehog. 'Cause you jump and you just turn into a
Yes,
ball.
that's what I was thinking of, because that's actually like the boss in that third stage is like this weird snail thing,
Yeah,
and there's a way to kind of like get in there and spam
which
that
is
jumping
yeah
attack.
exactly what I do
Yeah.
because he fires out projectiles, but if you basically just jump into the shell and then just keep
Yes.
jumping, like he's fucked.
Yeah.
Although the video I watched earlier on did have the guy basically just jumping in front of it and using that weird bear breath attack that he does, and that seemed to do a lot of damage very quickly. But no, I am a jumper. I jump in and
So
I go on.
yeah, this is if you've kind of like caught some of the things that we're like a general theme that's running through this is that if you play this game enough, you will just kind of memorize and find the tricks. There's not like like I don't even know how to say it. Like there's not any sort of like formula to this. It's just, or there is a formula. It's a very specific formula. The enemies are the same all the time.
Yeah.
The blue power-ups will come out of the same enemies in the same place. It's just a matter of timing it just right so that you will, kick the blue Cerberus dog at the right moment and unleash the little power-up and grab it. And then like same thing with the bosses. Like there are very specific ways to beat them. Once you figure it out, it's just kind of rinse and repeat, which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing.
No, not at all.
Because we've got affection for this game, but I could see where maybe playing it today for the first time, like I think actually there's a long lost recording of Brian and I talking about this game. We had this originally as a backlog, and we decided to redo it because like Brian really didn't like this game. I don't think he played it as a kid. It was something that he played kind of new as an adult, and he's like, this kind of sucks.
Which
and he's not wrong.
It's fair.
Yeah.
Like I fully appreciate that the rose tinted glasses are fully they're stapled to my face and they are not coming off. But I genuinely think there's a lot to love in this game. Like it's do you know what it is? It's just dumb. It's just dumb, and you just have to love it for that. I mean, I can't even remember what point we were originally trying to make now. What were we talking about? The bear? Fuck. Yeah, okay.
Well, I was getting their powers mixed up.
No.
Yeah.
I got it now. I got it. I know what I'm fucking doing. I'm podcasting. Been doing it a while now. Yeah, I think that the bosses, the fun is learning those tricks. Because remember, like a lot of this, we had to learn back in the day where you had to figure it out. Like you couldn't look it up. And I think the satisfaction from this game came from like figuring out like how to get around these bosses. Because like you say, once you do, these are not particularly difficult. I would argue that the levels leading up to the bosses that's the hard part of the game.
Oh yeah, that is, because
there are so many enemies just flying at you from everywhere, and you don't have a lot of mobility in this game. It's old.
No.
It shows. It's kind of wooden. You've got your punch, you've got your kick, you've got your jump, but there's not a lot of fluidity to this game. Which,
no.
It's the same for the enemies as well, except, they know how to make it work for them.
And there's more of them.
Yeah, a lot more of them. And
well, it's kind of almost like we just not too long ago talked about Castlevania, and I get the same feeling from, is it Simon or Richter that's in the first Castlevania? I can never keep
Simon
straight. Yeah, whatever. I mean, he's slow.
Yeah.
Very clunky, but that's part of the game, and that's kind of part of this game too. They just kind of slowly walk forward. There's no running. And finding that dog and either missing it or killing it, and then having the power up just float like just out of your reach is like one of the most infuriating things. Like,
it will drift
come
off
on.
screen. And don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, the power-ups that you get beforehand, they do make your ability to fuck up the enemies a lot easier. When you are when you are jacked, your punches are one-hit killing, and great,
Yes.
fantastic. But when you continuously miss that last power-up, it can be so frustrating. And these Cerberus dogs, they won't necessarily hang around. They will cross that screen and be gone. And it's just like, that's it.
they don't pause or anything. It's just like, if you're trying to focus on something behind you that's coming from the left side of the screen, it's like, oh fuck. And then now a pack of dogs will come from the right. And there'll be like a blue one right at the end.
Which is why this game is so well served by its difficulty, because this is a game that you have to play over and over and over again, and you will get to the point where, like, oh shit, I'm at this point, I know that dog is coming from that side, that's where my focus needs to be, so don't worry about whatever else is going on. I know that fucker's coming soon, get ready for him, get that power up, then focus. But you can only know when those are going to happen when you've played it so many times that it just becomes ingrained in you.
Absolutely, yeah. But yeah, there is. So after the fourth stage, you fight the the crocodile. Crocodile's really weird. They call it colloquially, it is known as fatty crocodile, but it's like a floating, like weird baby-looking crocodile thing that's holding like an orb of fire.
Sam,
it looks kind of like a sun.
Sam. Look at that! Look at that! Look at that boss, and tell me that's not a fucking testicle.
It does look like a testicle. So you punch it in the nuts enough times.
Yep. And again, that
does look like
it really
now
does.
I can't unsee that.
There it is. Yeah.
It looks like a diagram of a testicle.
It does, like a cutaway, like a anatomical picture or something. It's just like,
it does.
There he is, croconuts.
Like the model of a nut sack at the doctor's office. Like if you're going to your urologist, this is what's like the model that's on the shelf.
Like, should it have teeth? If your testicle has teeth,
absolutely,
consult your physician.
Teeth stickle.
There it is.
And that one I didn't find. Once you get to that, like that stage, the fourth stage is pretty tough. But once you get to that boss, it's actually pretty easy with the tiger.
Well, yeah, again, because you're throwing out these fireballs in the sine wave.
Oh, nice. Yeah, there we go.
Well, I listened to you. Like that was a Sam special. I know where I got that from. So you're fucking learning at Retrotopia. Every day's a school day.
That was the Medusa. Yeah, the Medusa sine wave. There we go.
You make me more smart.
Medusa sine wave is going to be our prog band name if we ever start a prog band.
I like that. Very cool.
Some mathcore.
So he'll basically shoot out these giant fireballs and these little flaming dragons across the screen. But I just found if you fire off a couple of these Medusa sine waves and just duck, like he can't hit you.
Right? Yeah. There's a good section of the bottom of the screen that he just cannot reach.
Yeah, and if you are literally just crouched, because you are literally just flat on the ground, and there's fuck all he can do. Wait for things to pass, pop up, fire off another couple of waves there, and you're golden. I mean, it might take a little while, but it's an easy win.
Yeah, that's fine. That is the trick.
But
then we get to the final level, and god damn, is there a difficulty spike? Like, even as far as this game goes, where it's just been kind of progressively, or just plain kind of difficult all the way through. It's just a matter of kind of learning the levels. But god, that last stage is just a fucker.
It's a beast. Yeah, because they are throwing basically an ungodly amount of enemies, but all new enemies as well.
Yeah, there's new ones. There is. I mean, we haven't really talked about too many of the enemies because they're pretty box standard. There's my favorite one is the chicken stinger, which actually makes an appearance in Golden Axe as well. Is
Yes,
there's some
that's
like
right.
there's some recycled Sega assets in some of these games.
Yeah, definitely. I like the because you pretty much start off fighting I say other zombies because I guess are you a zombie? You're a reanimated corpse,
I guess
so
so,
I
yeah.
guess
The
kind of.
Centurion is, yeah.
But I you've got zombies in robes, you've got skeletons shambling around, and then you've got those that one type of fucking zombie where I can't help but think it just looks like a fucking dead baseball player. Like, have you seen that guy?
Is it like no, not that thing.
It just
Is
looks
it
like
kind
it.
of the standard one where there's like a bunch of them?
It's kind of a jock looking one. You see him a lot in the caves, like the I don't know second, no third level, and it just kind of looks like he's wearing a baseball cap.
Oh man, I gotta find this.
And ever since I
That
was
is
a
funny
kid,
though. Yeah, they do look weird. Like especially because like I'm looking at some of these sprites side by side, and they've got like like the arcade version, the Mega Drive version, and then there was a Master System version of the game too. And they obviously decrease in quality
yeah.
because at the time the arcade games could handle better processors and stuff like that.
Oh, it's a
But
horn. Oh, I've just ruined it for
are
myself
you?
now.
Is it the?
If you look up the Grave Master, and actually look at the in-game sprite, and tell me it doesn't look like he's wearing a baseball cap.
Oh, this guy. Yeah, he kind of does. It's like a horn.
Yeah, and I've always ever
Those
since
suck.
yeah.
Those are tough because that's the guy that in the cave or whatever where you have to make that jump. There is one of these guys waiting to just like punch you right in the face as soon
Yeah.
as you make the jump.
So there we are. Altered Beast and fucking baseball
Altered
zombies.
Beast.
Like, I was just making shit up as a kid. I was not a bright child.
Altered baseball. Yeah, no, I mean, you kind of had to fill in the gaps when the graphics didn't kind of show you exactly what it was. I mean, it's a representation of artwork that probably looked way better.
Yeah, no
But
doubt.
it's funny when I clicked on the Grave Master on the wiki page, like the screenshot of it was a game over screen.
Yeah, I just saw
Yeah,
that.
those will mess you up.
Yeah, that's that tracks. But
But
yeah,
in the last level, there's a couple of new enemies, like the Dark Unicorn, which looks like a friggin' brony.
yeah,
And they do these like crazy jump kicks, which are very hard to avoid because you're so slow. This is where the last level to me is where the kind of slow plotting pace of your character really kind of fucks you up because you can only go so fast, but these guys can jump all over the fucking place.
yeah.
And then there's the gory goat, and those kind of hop around too.
There you got some footwork, definitely.
They're fast.
For
Those
sure.
suck.
And again, it's just a case of like trying to hang on for as long as you can and just hoping that you don't miss any of those power ups. Because once you become again
Yep.
the golden wolf, this level just gets so much easier.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because that's the point where you can use that rush attack and probably rush through a bunch of stuff. Just go side to side.
It
On the
really
screen.
pays off. It really pays off.
But then here's my other gripe with the final level too: is you get to the final boss, which I don't know if I've ever reached the final boss, but it's that rhino that you've mentioned before, but its name is Van Vader for some reason. It sounds like it's like Darth Vader's weird cousin or something. But this is kind of odd to me because for the most part, the bosses have been pretty stationary on the right side of the screen. I think the weird crocodile testicle floats around a little bit, but for the most part, like they stay kind of to their side of the screen. But this one, if I remember correctly, will kind of run around and engage with you.
Oh, big
and that's
time.
what makes it really difficult.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It will. I mean, it does the traditional rhino thing. You see a rhino, you know it's going to charge at you, and it does. And this fucker takes up quite a substantial amount of the screen as well. So it can be a real fucker to avoid. And the only way I found to beat this one is to literally bait it. To charge it, you jump and then dash across the screen so you make it to the other side, fire off a couple of those projectiles, and just rinse and repeat.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep jumping over it, dashing
Interesting.
across, turn around, fire off one or two, jump, dash, and I've seen that you can sort of charge through him. I've seen that you can, to a certain extent, engage him in sort of fisticuffs at close range, but it's a fucking risky gamble. My advice is just stay out of his fucking way and just take pot shots when you can, and again,
Right.
you will eventually beat him.
I think, yeah, just it's one of those things where, like, it's formulaic, and I've played games like this where it's like I know for a fact that this is just a formulaic, Castlevania is a good example where you either there's just like a very very slight variation in your jumps and stuff, or yeah, I had this problem in Mega Man X too, like the last boss on Mega Man X, where like
Oh,
exactly what you need to do, but there might be just like a slight variation that catches up with you that you'll get kind of worked over or lose some health.
yeah.
Even if it's a rinse and repeat type thing, like if your attention lapses for like a second, or you misjudge just like one jump or one shot or something, like you get greedy and try to take an extra hit, it's like, oh, they're gonna make you pay.
Oh yes, no, that is the perfect description, because you have to be dialed in, and I would argue that that's maybe not applicable for most of the bosses in this game. Again, if there are any that you need to like the teethsticle, just make
I
sure
like that we're calling it that.
make sure you duck at the right time. You're pretty safe, but again, if you're not paying attention, like, you can get caught out quite easily, and that is what makes this final boss. I mean, it's not impossible. It is difficult, if you don't know what you're doing. And bear in mind, like, you've only got what, 3 blocks of health, and this guy will just chew through them if he gets his hands on you.
Yeah, I think in the phone port that I was telling you about, that sounds awful
Yeah.
to play with a touch screen. I think you can turn up. I think there's a Sega Ages version too of this game where I think you might be able to turn up the amount of health you have,
Oh yeah. Okay.
which could be cool. But
Yeah. No doubt.
also, I'm gonna throw one. Unless you have anything else on this game, I'm gonna throw one last thing at you before we wrap this thing up. Did you know that there was a Famicom version of this game?
I did not.
It looks like it was Japan only.
That is definitely
but
something I am going to have to look into. I think, like, when I was looking, I found a version of Altered Beast on the ZX Spectrum.
Wow,
Which,
I didn't know it came out for that either.
yeah, I mean, if you I tell you what, it does not look good. And I love my ZX Spectrum. I'm going to have to. I want to do some quick plays on it, but I worry that nobody else knows what the fuck I'm talking about. But
No,
yeah,
don't worry about it. Just go for it, because I love stuff like that, like learning about weird consoles and stuff that I've never heard of.
it basically
I
looks
think
like a
I've
game that
actu-
was created on, and this is something we had over here, teletext. If any of my British chums know what I'm talking about, but it's just so basic. I love it,
Oh,
and that's
this ZX Spectrum one takes the cake for versions of this game that look like shit.
that's
This looks terrible.
that's gross, right? That is something.
Yeah,
And
I'm looking at this one now.
and you know what?
The Famicom version just looks like it was dialed back one more step from the Mega Drive Master System. Like, it looks just one more step back.
Yeah.
The ZX Spectrum one just looks awful.
I might have to, like, post some pictures in the Discord just so people know what we're talking about. I'll have to remember to do
Yeah,
that.
that's fair.
It is grim. I mean, I would say, we didn't really touch on graphics and what have you. This, you can tell that this is very early in the Mega Drive's lifespan, and it's not a huge jump up from the Master System. But I would say that this game, it looks fairly basic. I love that they sort of went all in on the enemy design and the boss design in particular. And the sprites, you can save for horns over baseball cap. You can tell what everything is,
Right.
and it's it is a good looking game, if a bit basic.
It really is. Yeah, that's one thing I will always say for the Sega is that it at least it did what it did and it looked good doing it. I think
I
for the
mean,
most part.
if you compare this with some of the games that came out at the end of the Mega Drive's lifespan, I mean, obviously it's night and day. I love the aesthetic of the ancient Greece stuff, or what should have been sort of current Greece back then, as you've
Right.
so rightly pointed out. I love all of that. I just love the whole aesthetic of this game. Like, I just think it looks really fucking cool.
Yeah, it is, and I like the boss designs, like we mentioned, are all pretty good.
Absolutely. I mean, music,
except for the testicle.
that's always the teeth-stickle. Music,
Oh yeah, and
isn't great.
yeah, I love the music too.
It's
Well, it's not. It's nostalgic for me.
it
'Cause
is
I,
it is
I've-
nostalgic. It's sort of subjectively or objectively or whatever the fucktively it is. It's got that very early Mega Drive tinny sound to it, and
yeah, it
that
does.
that would get
But
better over
I
time.
still like the sound.
It's again,
And the classic, like not, it's not voice acted or however they did it with like MIDI files or whatever. Just like the voiceover.
yeah.
Rise from your grave, and then I also like the welcome to your doom.
Welcome to your doom. I fucking love that. Oh, and while we're talking about Neff, this motherfucker, like, what exactly is Neff's plan? Like, because you get these little sort of no, I suppose you can't cut scenes, I guess, like these little static pictures between levels, and he's
pictures.
he's got Athena. He's obviously doing some sort of spell. He turns her into a bird. Question, profit. And it's just like, what's the end game here? Like, he's captured Athena. He's going to turn her into a bird.
Yeah, it's just he's just being a dickhead, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, I can't have her, no one can, kind of thing. Like,
maybe, but he's being a dickhead. But at the same time, he's also perhaps one of the more generous bosses I've ever come across, because obviously, as we've mentioned, he will wait for you to gain all of your power-ups before he'll engage with you. And after you've beaten every boss, like, Neff reappears from out of the ground and literally drains you of all of your power-ups.
yeah,
then,
if he's so all powerful, like, what are we doing here?
like, why are you waiting for me to power up to fight you? And if you could strip me of all my power, why don't you just fucking do that? Like, do you want me to win?
Yeah,
like,
that sounds like a good plan.
I think Neff is secretly on your side. Like, it seems to be doing everything.
He wants
in
you
his
to
power.
succeed somehow.
Yeah, good guy Neff. Like, I'm down with this guy. He wants you to get in good with.
That's the
with
twist.
Zeus.
Is he's actually a good guy.
Underrated good guy.
We might have to revisit this at some point and try to find a way to play this Famicom version, because it has different transformations too. There's a shark.
You're joking.
No, like you should look this up at some point. There's a shark.
I will.
There's yeah. I mean, it looks terrible. I probably don't want to play it, but
Well, I'm going to try and see if I
they put in
can.
an underwater level and a shark.
I'm going to see if I can find this ZX Spectrum version. I mean, it's got to be impossible to find, but God help me, I'm going to try.
Yeah, I don't know. I love this game. I will definitely play it again, because it's just one of those. It's also one of those ones where, like, I haven't seen a good in-box copy of it while I had the money to, like, while I felt like spending the money on it. But it is definitely one of those ones where, like, even though I have the ability to play this, whether it's on the Switch Online or on, like, the Genesis Mega Collection cartridge, which is a great value, by the way. I'll continue to always plug that, because that's just, there's so many good Sega games on there, especially since most people kind of had the SNES and not a Sega. It's a great way to go back and play a bunch of old Sega classics. I would consider picking this game up. I love it that much.
Honestly, when I got my Mega Drive back, because the one I've got is not my childhood one, this was one.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, my now wife bought this for me as an engagement present way back when, actually. And one of the first things I did was make sure I got this game for it, because
yeah, right after you made sure you locked that down, because that is a great engagement present.
Right, like fucking top drawer. But
Step one, lock that down, and step
locked,
two, start collecting
locked
games
down.
for it.
But yeah, Altered Beast was definitely one of the first games I bought for it because it's not very expensive. It is a launch title for the Mega Drive, and it just has such powerful nostalgic ties for me.
Yeah,
Just it's simple
such
as.
an enjoyable game.
Shall we wrap up? What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we went for longer than I would have expected on a
We
game that's
went
so
for
short.
like 4 times longer than the game actually
Yeah,
is.
if you're skilled and can beat this game without dying or whatever, and getting all the power-ups first try, like you've beaten this game like 4 times over just in the time that we've been talking about it.
There you go. And I hope we helped.
Yeah, I hope we convince someone to try this. So if you're listening and you haven't played this and you've got Switch Online, or I don't quote me on that. I think it's on Switch Online. But it's pretty readily available. Even if it's not, I think there's that Sega Ages version is probably a really good way. If you're interested in just this and not really anything else, those Sega Ages games are really cool. That's how we played Phantasy Star back in the earlier days of the podcast. And I fully support those. They do a lot to kind of improve they add some quality of life improvements and stuff where you're still playing basically the game as it was originally created, but there's also like some stuff to help you out.
Sure. Yeah.
So I fully endorse those as well.
I agree with that.
So what are you scoring this? What would you give this out of 10?
I mean,
kind of a complicated question.
it is and it isn't, because, I can fully appreciate that this game is, as I said, it's dumb. It's dumb, but it's fun. It's one of the very earliest games that I ever played, and I will never get tired of playing this stupid game. Like, the transformations are fantastic. The enemy design is brilliant. I love the way this game looks. Maybe it's because I've put the reps in, but I love the way that this game plays. I mean, I don't know how it would be coming in fresh these days. It's a dumb game that deserves a dumb score, frankly. And I am gonna.
What's the dumbest score you can give it?
I'm gonna give it a ZX. No, I'm gonna give it an 8. Does it deserve an 8? Probably not. I am fully aware this is probably the stupidest score that I've ever given a game, but I fucking love this stupid game, and
I do. Yeah, I love it too.
Argue with me all you want. I know you won't, Sam, but anyone else, come at me and tell me. But please, just try this game first before you do.
Yeah.
There is a reason that this shitty little game from 1989 is still being talked about today. It's still on collections, it's still on the Sega Ages, things like that, because it doesn't claim to be anything that it's not. This game knows exactly what it is. It's an easy pick up and play, maybe difficult to master, just slice of arcade fun. And for that, Altered Beast, I love you.
Yeah, I do too. I'm not going to add anything that hasn't already been said. You said it perfectly, but I think my score is going to be a little bit lower. I'm going to give it a 7. Nice solid 7, but that being said, it's not perfect. It's not even particularly that good. I just love it.
Yeah.
And as long as it exists and is accessible for me to play, I'm going to be playing it at periodically, not all the time. It's one of those things where I don't think I'd love it so much if I played it all the time, but
it's a nice little
I'd
palate
definitely pick it
cleanser
up.
every once in a while.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's really short, and obviously I've never beaten it, but I'll play with it for a day or so, and then I had a great time with it, and then I'll move on. So I think it's one that's very near and dear to my heart, and when I do finally grab a copy of it for my collection, I will definitely post it to the Discord and celebrate.
Full disclosure, I have been looking while we've been talking, and I have actually found the ZX Spectrum version of Altered Beast, and it's going for about 12 of my English pounds.
Ooh, that's tempting. That's not bad.
I've watched it on eBay. I'm gonna keep an eye on this fucking thing because
All right,
that might have to happen.
you let me know. We might have to do like Altered Beast Redux at some point and talk about the Famicom and ZX Spectrum version.
Absolutely, I'm down for it.
Ugh,
And
God.
if
Those will get lower scores, I'm assuming.
no doubt. But you know what? If people want to find out what those scores are, if they want to follow our Altered Beast adventures, well, I guess I'm halfway there. I guess I'll do it.
Yeah.
They can follow us on linktree/Retrotopia. That's linktr.ee/Retrotopia. Obviously, our main Retrotopia episodes come out every Sunday, wherever you get your podcasts. Or you can listen to them early by joining our free Patreon at patreon.com/Retrotopia. And while you're at it, why not come and join our Discord as well? Come and
Yes, please do.
tell us what you think. Tell us why we're right. Tell us why we're wrong. All of that good stuff. That's all I got.
Yeah, I'm definitely wrong more than right. So yeah, if you want to jump in and
I don't know. You came up with Medusa sine wave. You know that's pretty fucking
that's
right.
true. Yeah, I've got flashes of brilliance, but that's about it.
Yeah, you flash brilliantly, and I do love a boss that will flash.
That's right. Flash the testicles. All right. With that, take it easy, everybody. We'll sign off here and hope you enjoyed this episode. And next week, I believe we've got Final Fantasy 13 coming up, don't we?
We have, yeah, going solo. I've actually recorded that already. Long awaited by some. If you want to hear an idiot British guy who doesn't actually know that much about Final Fantasy 13. I mean, I've played it, I've beaten it, but I'm not going to do it as much justice as some people, perhaps. But an idiot's guide to Final Fantasy 13 sounds fantastic, doesn't it?
Hey, sounds great to me.
Brilliant.
All right.
What have you got,
Take
Sam?
it easy, everyone. Oh no, me? I don't have anything else. I'm gonna sign it off because I'm so good at that.
Alrighty. Welcome to your doom.